Hey, everybody, welcome back to the SoCap Improv Comedy Podcast. My name is Ralph. I'm the owner and artistic director at the SoCap Improv Comedy Theatre in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. SOCAP.ca, SoCap.ca. Yeah, so come on down, take a class with us, or send me questions or comments or whatever you like. And the purpose of this podcast is to talk about improvisational comedy, but not just for stage, but also in real life. I say this all the time, but I live my life honestly by a lot of the principles that I talk about when I talk about improvisation. So just briefly, some examples are: don't try to control what happens to me. I try to control how I react to it. And try to see the value in all the things that happen, whether good or bad. I try to love what happens, as Nietzsche said, amor fati, love what happens. I do try to treat problems and chaos and nuance as opportunities rather than things to avoid or be mad about. And I think for me, when I live my life this way, it really makes life more enjoyable. And, my mood is better and I'm more flexible and all these other things. So today's topic, I want to talk about being specific versus being general in your offers, and I'll get into what I mean in a moment. But just I think we all kind of know what specific and general is, right? But in general, like, don't say or try not to say, "Oh, do you want to get in my car?" It's better to say, "Do you want to get into my Hummer or my Mazda 3 or my Volkswagen Beetle?" Right? Or hey, you want some food versus hey, you want some greasy fries or you want some cheese, a French cheese omelet, the omelette du fromage. You want something like that. These are that's very specific. And now, why? Why, Ralph? Why does it matter? Well, number one, uh, for an audience, whether that audience is on stage or across the dinner table from you, specific offers are more relatable to people, and in the terms of being on stage, they'll tend to laugh, right? Uh, and so, for an example, I've heard, and this is the one that resonates with me because I've heard this. I've heard people, when an offer is made, and they're talking about washing their clothes, and they say, "Don't add the detergent." They say, "Oh, add the Tide," and people will laugh. And I was always very curious about why people laughed at that. And I've come to believe that it's because, oh, Tide, I know that, or I use that. I get that, and it just increases the connection between you and your audience, and it pulls them in a bit more, because even if they don't use Tide, they've probably heard of it. And yes, Tide is sponsoring this episode, so go out and get your Tide. Right, and being specific also creates a connection and a clarity. It's different if you're talking about, oh, at the aquarium. It's like, oh, I see fish. Oh, no, no, look, I see a turtle. And if people have been to Ripley's or other aquarium, oh yeah, sea turtles. They'll have more of an emotional attachment to that, or like, oh, it's a shark or a salmon, rather than just a generic fish. It's like it's a specific thing. So it's relatable. People will laugh at, oh yeah, I know that. And they will have more of a connection to a specific thing versus just a little thing. And one time this happens a lot is in scenes in a library or bookstore where someone pulls a book off a shelf, and they'll often say, "Oh, it's a dictionary," or "It's a fiction book." And in those cases, generally, when you say the name of the title of the book, someone says, "What you reading?" It's better to have like a real book title, and better. I mean, because if you say a real title like, "Oh, it's Moby Dick," or the Game of Thrones, or Lord of the Rings, or The Stand, uh, anybody who knows that book will laugh. Ha ha! You have created a mini environment, a mini relatable, a mini community with that, and they'll laugh at the recognition of it. So the laughter is, ah, ha ha! I know that book. I'm in. Oh, look at me. I'm smart and I'm elevated. So they really like it. one thing, just while I'm talking about books, you know, so the two things I see the most are people say, "Oh, it's a fiction book or a dictionary," or they'll try to make up a title, right? And then they'll pause because they're trying to think of a perfect, hilarious title. Like, oh, 1,008 uses for cheese. And if you say that, you might get one or two people in the audience doing that head laugh, that ha, right? That, oh, that's clever, right? And they might like it. And I'm not here to say that that's good or bad, or if you prefer like a belly laugh, but it won't get that connection. You will get often a couple people laughing like that at your cleverness, but you'll miss out on that. Oh no, I'm more invested in your scene. I'm more with you. You want to really bring people on board. I say often that, we're not trying to be comedians so much as trying to spread joy. If you spread joy, that will make people laugh a lot more and have a better time and want to come back and see you again, whether you're on stage or whether you're out in the world. So just some other little examples, if someone offers you a drink, instead of saying, "Oh, would you like a drink?" Say, "Would you like a non-alcoholic beer? Would you like a tea?" Someone brings you flowers, not just, "Oh, you brought me flowers. Oh, you brought me yellow carnations." If you have a smell in the air, it's like, "Oh, I smell jasmine or burnt toast or the smell of decay," versus just a smell. Or if you're around the sensor objects like a fire, "Oh, feel the heat of the fire." We have a beverage. This coffee's hot. Right? In your imagination, in your mind's eye, try to see these things and comment on them and kind of imagine you can feel them. Because this takes me to my next thing about being specific. Not only will you create connections with other people, but it will root you in the present, right? If you're doing a scene where you're fishing and you look out and you see the lake and you see mountains or trees and clouds and birds chirping and hear the crickets, that will root you in the here and now, the same way that using an emotion does. You'll be in the moment if you see those things. You will be present and your self-consciousness will go away. So it helps you get into the moment. It overcomes your self-consciousness. It makes you more receptive and open and aware. And the third thing about being really specific, so we've got it will make you more relatable. It will root you in the moment. And the third is it suggests character, right? So if I say, "Would you like a non-alcoholic beer?" Well, that says something about my character, right? It says, "Oh, maybe my character is against alcohol or is conscious of their health versus just to drink," right? It'll pick up little subtle comments that other people can build on, and you start to have a rapport, and you build something from that. And so that's the third one, is that you have a sense of the character, right? So those are the three kind of things. Now there is one time that I recommend it's not a good time to be specific, because no rules, and sometimes it's not a good idea. And one of those times it's not good to be specific is when you're talking about a cause of a death of a character. Like, why is a character dying? Because if you say something like, if you're dying of cancer or heart disease or stroke or something that is a real thing, anybody generally watching you, especially an audience, will be taken away from the moment, and they'll think about the time that terrible disease affected them or someone that they loved, because we've all been touched by these horrendous diseases. So that will take your audience and whether that audience is, again, sitting in the stands or across the dinner table from you, it'll take them away from the moment, and they'll be transported like out of the moment and back into their mind, their self-consciousness. So once again, this is not about being PC, which people ask me a lot. It's like, it's not about being PC. It's about not not upsetting your audience unnecessarily, and it will tend to upset them. I've seen people run out of the theater crying because on stage people were talking about a character dying of cancer, and they were being kind of flippant about it, and it's just gonna upset people. And, at the end of the day, you do what you want, but I don't want to upset my audience. Okay, so when it comes to death, what I would recommend is that you talk about very general things like, oh, they were poisoned, or they died of a mysterious illness, or scurvy, something that doesn't, that's unlikely to affect somebody in your life. It's funny because something, we say murdered a lot. We murder a lot of characters. And for some reason, that one rarely gets anybody upset. And I'm sure that I've had many people in my audiences who've, had family members murdered. But anyway, I digress. So, in closing, uh, being specific is generally a much better way to go than just being generic, because it will create a relatable connection between you and your audience. It will root you in the present moment if you can see these things, if you see yellow carnations versus just flowers. And it will suggest character. It will suggest, um, you know, um, aspects of your character. Like if you're eating in, if you're eating at McDonald's versus, oh, I'm eating at, this Michelin restaurant, that's going to tell us something about your character, right? Which will help inspire your scene partner to add more things to it, right? It's easier to build something when your choices become limited. So if we're eating at a Michelin restaurant, that tells us some things about these characters, and it will make making other choices easier. Right. So that's what I have today. Thank you very much for checking us out. We'll see you here next time on the SoCap Improv Comedy Podcast. My name has been Ralph, and we'll see you next time. Take care. As always, ciao.